Hello everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm Rob Goodwin. This is Ketogenic Bodybuilding and thank you for being here. I'm going to talk today about the carnivore diet, and it's nothing new these days. It's not the bizarre, wacko, crazy diet protocol that it was when it really started rearing its head and peeking from behind the curtain a couple years ago. And a lot of people are practicing it with a lot of great success, and a lot of the things that were really scaring people about the boogeyman carnivore diet we've learned are not necessarily true. And I've been practicing what I would call a non-orthodox carnivore diet for nearly 2 years. And what do I mean by non-orthodox? That means in about every nutrition protocol out there, there's somebody shouting from the rooftop saying that you're not doing it exactly the way it's supposed to be done. Well, guess what? Get off your high horse, because no one particular diet is perfect for everybody. We all need to tweak things. So even after this video today, somebody is going to comment or contact me and tell me that, oh, what you're prescribing is not carnivore, and you need to tighten things up a little bit, that it should only be meat and water, and if you're doing anything beyond that, then it's not carnivore. Well, I disagree. And I'm going to walk you through what I think. And it's still a little bit more stringent, a little tighter than what I've normally been doing. If I had to guess, I'd say that my current carnivore diet that I've been practicing for nearly 2 years and competing with is about 85 to 90% traditional carnivore. When you say traditional, you can date that back to the hunter-gatherer days, and in certain geographical areas, people subsisted on a 100% carnivore diet and would be rare to consume any carbohydrate at any point throughout the year. And that's well documented, so I don't need to get into all that. The documentation's out there if you want to look it up. So my carnivore diet, I call it non-orthodox because I do include a couple of things that the typical hardcore carnivore community would not include, and chief among them for me would be a whey protein powder. I still consume a whey protein powder once or twice a day because of the way I train. I need to hit a certain protein requirement every day, and it's pretty high for me, so it makes it a little easier in my insane schedule to add in a whey protein shake here and there. Some days I don't, most days I do, so I'm okay if you keep that one in there. But we'll go over the food list here in a second and talk about the rules of the carnivore challenge if you want to participate. What is the challenge? I issued this challenge yesterday in our Ketogenic Bodybuilding Facebook group, and if you're not a member, go to the notes, click the link, join the group, become part of a really, really cool group of hardcore badasses who mingle together the ketogenic nutrition principles with hard training in the gym or wherever. And it's a pretty unique group, nearly 10,000 strong, and we invite you to be a part of it. But I issued that challenge coming off of World Carnivore Month, which is in January. Who came up with that? I have no idea. Seems like there's a month for everything now, but apparently January is World Carnivore Month, so of course we don't do anything the way everybody else does it. So once again, we're going against the grain, and we're doing it in February. So if there's anything good to be taken from it, and if it is tough for you, it's the shortest month of the year. So we're talking 29 days instead of 30 or 31. So there you go, my gift to you. But we're going to do the Ketogenic Bodybuilding, the KGB Carnivore Month, in February. So if you want to join in, the best place to be to talk, discuss, and share your thoughts and feelings about everything carnivore throughout that 29 days is in the Ketogenic Bodybuilding Facebook group. So join. Speaking of joining, have you subscribed to this channel yet? I haven't even covered that. Subscribe, hit the button, subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate your support. It helps us further our mission and further our cause, spreading the ketogenic bodybuilding gospel to all the world. So thank you in advance for hitting that big red button and helping us further our mission. Okay, onward. Carnivore diet. Props to Joe Rogan. Everybody knows who Joe Rogan is. He's got an amazing podcast that you probably watch or listen to, most of you out there. Very, very popular, one of the most popular out there. And thanks to him for kind of bringing the carnivore diet into more of the mainstream world, if you can call Joe Rogan, fans mainstream, which that's a stretch. But he really set the wheels in motion to the masses when he interviewed Dr. Sean Baker, and then subsequently interviewed a woman by the name of Mikhaila Peterson. She is the daughter of Jordan Peterson, who is a very popular author and speaker, and has achieved a lot of fame here recently. I mean, I have, 2 of his books and am a fan myself. He and his daughter both alleviated a lot of autoimmune dysfunction in their lives by going on a carnivore diet. And his daughter Mikhaila has a fascinating interview on the Joe Rogan show that I'm going to put the link into the show notes that I encourage you to take some time and listen to. It's long, so you can break it up into parts, but it's quite fascinating what this poor woman went through and how she alleviated it by going on a carnivore diet. So we're going to do the carnivore diet thing ourselves. And like I said, I've been pretty much non-Orthodox carnivore for 2 years. But I'm going to tighten the screws on it myself and get a little bit more rigid with it for 29 days, right along there with you. And we'll kind of see what the results are and how everybody feels and how we're performing at the end of that 29 days. So a lot of people have concerns about the carnivore diet, and I guess it's justified. And chief among them is that you're not getting the amount of nutrients that you need by eliminating plant matter. And you're always going to hear the vitamin C argument. There's a few others, but for, to not carry this thing way too far down a wormhole, I'm going to just cover the vitamin C thing, and there are other nutrients that fall into that category. When you are in a glucose-restricted environment, when you have restricted carbohydrate, glucose, glycogen from the body, your personal requirements for vitamin C diminish greatly. You need very little vitamin C if you're in a low glucose environment. Vitamin C and glucose kind of work together. So if you've eliminated glucose or if you're on even a 90% carnivore diet, you're going to be in an extremely low carbohydrate environment, and your needs for vitamin C drop into the basement. This is why so many people now are thriving on a carnivore diet and having no ill effects. And that's not everyone. Again, not every diet's for everybody. Some people may have some issues with a pure carnivore diet, and that's fine. So the cool thing about a carnivore diet is it really does wind up being one of the best elimination protocols, meaning if you are suffering from some autoimmune distress, could be some inflammatory markers, both acute or systemic in the body. Some people suffer from skin disorders, headaches and migraines. The list goes on and on. I've seen countless instances documented where people have gone on a carnivore diet, thus eliminating so many other foods that they determined that by eliminating all those foods that their symptoms lessened severely or went away completely, and they were completely cured from whatever was distressing their body. And I referred to the Mikhaila Peterson interview on Joe Rogan, and she talks at length about this. So the good thing about a carnivore diet is you may be suffering from some nagging autoimmune disorder or issue, whether it be small or great, that you may find you alleviate by going on quite a bit more restrictive diet and eliminating a lot of those other foods, plant matter, so forth. So it's a great way to determine if maybe there's something kind of throwing a wrench in the works by trying a carnivore diet. And the other thing is, I've never, ever not seen everyone who's gone on a carnivore diet not lose weight. So if you're trying to burn off some body fat, this is definitely going to do it for you, I assure you. If you're following this, honor system, if you're following this strict the way I plan it out, you're going to drop some body fat. It is inevitable, I promise. And guess what? Because of its high protein nature, because of all that incredible red meat you're taking in, you're also not going to burn any muscle either. The chances are slim. And I have definitely, this is no BS, when I am consuming more red meat and the more I lean toward the carnivore diet, I notice personally, this is totally anecdotal, I'll admit that, and I have had some clients echo the same thing, but I have always noticed that I have a fuller, harder, denser appearance in my body. have a better look about me. I can't explain it. I don't have any literature on that, so don't ask. But I'm telling you straight up, I've noticed that when I'm taking in more red meat, more beef, upping my egg count, yolks included, that I seem to have a more full, hard, dense muscularity about me, and my physique just changes slightly for the better every time that I do this. And that's why I've sustained it now for 2 years, because I see the benefits of it. So when do I eat vegetable matter and other foods? I say I'm 85 to 90% carnivore. Well, every once in a while, when I go home in the evenings, my wife will have prepared some sort of a vegetable to go along with our meat that we consume. Sometimes on the weekend, she will. So I might indulge in a little asparagus or a little cauliflower. If it's there, I eat it. No big deal. I'm not really concerned about that. It's fine. It doesn't affect me. So I'll have some. It's kind of a nice change. But for the sake of the Carnivore Challenge through the month of February, I will refrain from that 100%. So other things that I do that stray from the Orthodox carnivore ideology is I still will consume some whey protein powder. Now, here's my goal. My goal is to consume as little as possible going into the month of February. The only time I will consume a whey protein powder is if I've gotten so busy, because I'm on the workout floor for hours at a time with very little breaks, doing lots of stuff in the evenings with my work, and if I find that I'm falling short of my protein requirements for the day, then I may revert to downing a quick whey protein shake, a couple of scoops, just to make sure that I'm getting my protein requirements in for the day. But I'm going to work very, very hard to see that that happens as little as possible. So that's my goal. So that's how I'm going to approach this World Carnivore Month. And up to now, my non-Orthodox carnivore diet has been 85 to 90% animal-based. Meat, fish, poultry, eggs, and so on, with only occasional sprinkles in of vegetable matter and occasional little sprinkles in of dairy. But now I'm going to take it quite a bit tighter into the month of February. So what does that look like? Okay, here's the list. And I'm going to put the list in the notes too. So the list is very simple. Thing about a carnivore diet is it's not complicated. I've often made the joke in the past that, I'm going to write a book on the carnivore diet. It'll be 2 pages. And really, if you want to get simple with things, it really is that simple. And like any diet protocol on earth, it's not about being complicated, because no diet really is once it's spelled out for you. It's about compliance. It's about following through. It's not the diet. It's the dietary compliance. So super simple. So rundown of the foods you're going to consume: obviously beef, red meat, game meats, things like lamb. All these things are fair game. And when I'm doing a strict carnivore diet, my goal is to get as much red meat in as possible, and then sprinkle in some poultry and fish and things of that nature, pork here and there. But my goal is to try to consume as much red meat as possible because of its nutrient density. And there's just something about cutting into a nice juicy steak that is a little bit more satisfying than a hunk of chicken. But I digress. So beef, red meat, steak, ground beef, any of these things. Game meats are great. You can even look into some lamb. You can have lamb. Obviously all poultry, chicken, turkey, etc. Game birds are fine. Organ meats are great. They're super nutrient dense. Some people don't like organ meat. I get that, but there's a lot of creative ways that you can sort of combine a little bit of, say, liver in with your other meats to sort of almost hide it and get some of the nutrient dense organ meats into your diet. You don't have to consume organ meats. Some people say you do. I don't believe that's the case, but it's never a bad idea to bring in some organ meats. So if you can get some in there, or if you like organ meat, if you like liver and all these things, then knock it out. It's really, really good for you. So organ meats, fish, especially cold water fish, for the DHA that's in it is fantastic for you. wild-caught salmon, mackerel, and then there's your other fish, tuna steak, even cod. Doesn't have quite as much healthy fats in it, but it's still a nice lean, it's not super fishy fish, so that's fair game. Eggs are fantastic. I recommend slamming eggs is fine, whole eggs, yolk included. However, if you're one of these people that wants to use this as an elimination diet, meaning you're trying to uncover something that may be affecting you negatively and you're not sure if whether or not you could have an egg allergy, maybe exclude the eggs for that month and see how you do. If you're convinced that you don't have an issue with eggs, pound some eggs. Love eggs. So I have steak and eggs or beef and eggs every single morning, no matter what. So eggs are great. Jerky is a great thing to throw in there, provided it's a clean, nitrate-free, non-processed jerky. So typically you'll find that stuff locally from, a hunter that or at farmers markets, or, like a Whole Foods may have some nitrate-free, cleaner jerky options for you. So definitely that works too. And you want to keep your deli meats to the non-processed variety. You want to get the cleanest, best deli meats you can. You want to make sure your deli meats are being cut for you by the person behind the counter. Like a Boar's Head brand deli meat would be much better than some of the packaged nitrate hormone-ridden deli meats that aren't going to really do it for you. So pork is okay. That's fine too. Obviously keep your nitrate-free bacon in the mix, pork chops, fine. All good stuff. So that's the bulk of your foods. Animal-based products, animal meats, eggs, fish, poultry, that's what you eat. And if you like meat like me, it's not a big freaking deal. Honestly, people, I can say this without any hesitation. This thing in February is going to be a breeze for me. But I know it can be tough for some, but that's why I'm doing it with you, and I want to keep encouraging you through that month. So, beverages, obviously water, black coffee, unsweetened tea is going to be fine for you, and bone broth. If you like a good bone broth you like to sip on, my wife loves a warm cup of bone broth even in the evening sometimes, or just when she's not terribly hungry and wants to get some good nutrition. So bone broth is great. Spices and condiments, obviously things like pink sea salt are great. Salt the shit out of everything if you like. Pepper is fine. Any carb-free spices that you like, you want to shake on your meats or whatever, your eggs, that's absolutely no problem. I will even say a little bit of butter, grass-fed preferably, is okay if you're using it like a condiment. Meaning sometimes when I'll put my steak, I'll sear a steak, I'll pop it in the oven. I might put a small square of grass-fed butter on the top of my steak and let that kind of soak in as it finishes in the oven. It's fantastic. So as long as you're not going crazy with it, I think a little bit of butter is going to be just fine. I think there's a lot of positives to having a little bit of grass-fed butter in your diet. So go with that. That's fine. And my special considerations is going to be, if you just can't meet your protein requirement for the day, if you have a protein requirement, some of us harder training athletes, competitors have a protein requirement that's been set for them, and if you just aren't able to get it in because of a hectic day, then if you have to down a whey protein shake, I have no issue with that. I would definitely ask though that you stick to a whey protein that is an isolate whey only. You don't want to mess with the concentrates and all that garbage. So even at the end of the day, if you have one protein shake, you're going to finish the entire day with no more than 1 or 2 grams of carbohydrate for the entire day. If you don't have a whey shake, you should finish at 0. You want to know if you're doing carnivore right? Unless you're having a whey shake, you're going to finish the day with 0 carbohydrate. If you have 10, 12, 15 grams of carbs, that's not carnivore. You didn't do it right, so you better check back and see where that was thrown in or added in. And usually it ends up being from some sort of a snack meat like a jerky that you didn't check the label. Make sure that it wasn't something clean and carb-free and sugar-free, so be mindful of that. Sometimes a bad, cheap deli meat can be a culprit as well and have some sugar added into it or something that shouldn't be there. So Obviously, all your other powders and pre-made shakes and potions and any protein bars are completely off. I don't do those anyway. So you don't want to consume any of that. So my special considerations would be whey if you need it to hit a protein requirement. And I still have no problem with a little bit of MCT oil as an energy component to help you through some hard workouts. Anybody that's been around my group or around me long enough knows that I still like MCT oil. I don't care what you say. I'm not going to stop using it. I do use it, and I've been using it since 1994, long before anybody ever heard of freaking keto, okay, as a mainstream diet protocol. So if you're digging the MCT oil before a workout or as an energy component to get you through your morning with a little coffee, a little black coffee, I have no issue with that as well, okay? Does that make sense? So, all right, so we understand what we're doing here. I have been following a non-Orthodox carnivore diet for 2 years, and now I'm going to ramp it up quite a bit just to be part of the team here with you guys who are going through the challenge that we've issued for the month of February 2020. And you could be watching this video down the road when we're long past February. Set your own goal. Say, I'm going to take the next 30 days, do this carnivore protocol, and see how it does for me. It's extremely rare when I run into somebody who's had a negative experience when trying a carnivore diet. And then after the 30 days, you want to decide, hey, I still like to have a little bit of vegetable matter here and there. I have no issue with that whatsoever. I'm not asking you to do this for the rest of your life. And I probably won't either. Just because I just don't operate that way. If I want to have something and I know that I can still maintain a very low carb diet, then I'm going to do it, and I have no problem with that. I know my body and I know what makes it tick. And you'll sort of develop that same sensitivity as well. I will caution you on one thing. If you haven't already experienced this, if you're new to eating low carb and really clean like this, high protein, good fats, low carb, getting rid of all the processed garbage, you're going to find you've developed some new sensitivities to bad food, meaning it's very common when somebody goes through a 30-day carnivore diet challenge like this, when they reintroduce a shitty food, like a cheat food, it often hits them twice as hard as it used to because your body has been so cleansed, and it's really going to notice a harmful, something harmful or detrimental being reintroduced back into the body. So if you do decide after this 30 days to jump in and have a cheat meal or some sort of a big refeed, then I caution you to do it slowly because you don't want to get sick, okay? And then the last thing I want to cover is something I just mentioned. If you're one of my crew, you've been around here a while, we like the concept of targeted ketogenic diets around our workouts, sprinkling carbs around the workouts. And we also advocate and think there's a lot of benefits to having a carbohydrate refeed day once a week, 1 out of 7. For the month of February, if you're doing the challenge, that's off. I'm going to eliminate it too. I'm not doing any refeeds, and I'm not doing anything weird for the month of February, except for one thing. Now, you don't have to do this. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I've already been issued orders, and I'm cool with it. I probably will have a little something on Valentine's Day because I will be at the beach and I will be having a good time. And although I'll be eating rare steak two-handed through that weekend at the beach, maybe have some fresh fish, I will have one little indulgence on Valentine's Day because I will be sleeping with Angus the dog if I don't. You know where I'm going with this? You understand. So apart from that, I'm going to be more strict than I've ever been, and I hope you'll follow along with me. So no refeeds, no TKD, strict carnivore. If you have to have whey to complete a protein requirement, that's okay. Otherwise, it's meat, fish, poultry, eggs, water, some black coffee, a little bone broth, and that's it. But it's going to be a cool 30 days, 29 days. And I hope you'll join along with me, and I hope you'll put some comments in this video and let me know how you're doing. I hope you really participate in the Ketogenic Bodybuilding Facebook group. And if you have any questions along the way, don't hesitate to ask. And hey, if you're looking for a coach, I am filling up. January's been, a blessing, but it's also, it's caving in on me. So if you're looking to do some online training with me, it's become extremely popular. Spots are filling up fast, so please shoot me a message and let me know if you have some serious intentions on doing that, and we can get the ball rolling for you. So, okay, sound good? Until then, special edition Carnivore Diet Challenge. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a subscriber. And we've got more videos coming later in the week. We've got another episode of Morning Muscle, and we've got another cool rant video where I talk about passionately the war between which is better, free weights or machines. We're going to break that down. So lots of cool stuff coming. Check back, and I'll see you then. So in the meantime, go eat a steak and go train hard. Peace.